Thanks for staying with us. It's time now for Africa News with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, a political rift continues to escalate in South Sudan. Thousands flee more gunfights in Juba as the military puts down an alleged coup. Top former ministers are also arrested. Frenchman Michel Thierry Atangana loses his appeal against a 20-year sentence in Cameroon. Its Supreme Court gives no reason for the decision. He says he's been politically persecuted. And in a special report from Democratic Republic of Congo, our correspondents highlight the fear in which many around the eastern city of Beni live. Fighters from the ADF Nalu are blamed for a litany of atrocities there. Thanks for staying with us. First up, there were more gunfights in the South Sudanese capital on Tuesday, prompting the United States to suspend operations at its embassy and order its citizens in the unstable new nations home. At least 26 people have been killed as the military says it's been mopping up the remains of the soldiers accused of trying to launch a coup yesterday. President Salva Kiir has blamed the unrest on an attempted power grab by former Vice President Riek Machar, and several top political figures have been arrested. Well, for more, France 24's Mading Knorr is in Juba and he joins us now. Mading, have things calmed down where you are yet?
Throughout the day, generally, the security situation in Juba has calmed down. Things have stabilized. But in the last few minutes, we have been hearing sustained gunshots. 1 hour ago, the reports were only limited to the military barracks where the fighting started on Sunday night. But as we speak, gunshots are still being heard in Juba. So far, the health authorities are reporting about 40 people have died from the clashes of the last 2 nights and 130 wounded. But the political situation is tense, and residents of Juba don't know what they will wake up to tomorrow when they wake up. As we speak, and you were mentioning in your introduction, ex-ministers have been arrested. They are largely politicians, about 10 of them, for allegedly taking part in the foiled coup. The government calls it a coup. Meanwhile, Riek Machar, the former vice president, and a group of soldiers are reportedly on the run, and government troops are pursuing them, according to government spokesmen. The situation has generally been calm in the day, but a curfew has been enforced from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. During the day, only the military vehicles were moving to and fro, and citizens were not moving very much.
Thanks very much. Mading Knorr there for us in Juba. Now, a Frenchman who was first jailed in a Cameroonian jail back in 1997 has today had his appeal against a 20-year sentence for corruption rejected by the country's Supreme Court. Now, judges didn't give any explanation for the decision, and Michel Atangana insists that he's innocent and a victim of a political vendetta. Well, Nicolas Chemin tells us more.
More bad news emerged from Cameroon's Supreme Court for Frenchman Michel Thierry Atangana. The court confirmed a 20-year prison sentence for corruption. He's already been in jail for 17 years on a separate conviction for embezzlement.
It feels like a persecution. Like all fathers, he thought of his children first. But he's in good spirits. We will support him during this difficult time and see if we can find a legal route to get him released as soon as possible.
Atangana hopes that the 2 sentences can be served concurrently. He could then be free in 3 years' time. Atangana's supporters say he's a political prisoner. He was close to Titus Edzoa, who shocked his former ally President Paul Biya in 1997 when he announced he was running for the presidency. Soon after, Edzoa and Atangana were imprisoned. Paul Biya is one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, having been Cameroon's president for more than 30 years.
Tunisia's president and outgoing Prime Minister Ali Laouaye decided not to attend an event in Sidi Bouzid today to commemorate the 3rd anniversary since a street vendor set himself alight there in a desperately iconic protest. There was little popular enthusiasm for the landmark date today. Many Tunisians accused their leaders of bringing in little change since Mohamed Bouazizi's gesture sparked a revolution in leadership change. Police security was stepped up as anti-government protests were held in Tunis and Sidi Bouzid today. More European troops will be sent to Central African Republic to bolster a French-African mission there to try and stem the spiralling violence. Well, France has already had about 1,600 troops in place, fighting back against worsening violence between Christian militia and Seleka rebels who ousted former President François Bozize back in March. France hasn't specified exactly where the extra troops may come from, but it's thought Belgium's considering deploying around 150 troops on a protection mission and to secure Bangui Airport. The massacre of 21 people, including women and children, in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo will not go unpunished, says the UN's special representative to the country. Now, it was a brutal attack, with some of the youngest victims having been raped before being hacked to death. The remains were found in villages not far from the area of Beni, which has long been infested by armed militia, amongst them the notorious ADF Nalu. Many in Beni live in constant fear of attack, abduction or abuse. Our correspondent sent us this report.
This is called the Road of Death.
2 kilometers from here, the ADF Nalu are the only one to rule. 230,000 displaced, 250 people killed in less than a year, this mysterious rebel group has been terrorizing the population of Beni for years. The zone has become inaccessible.
This is an agricultural area. In these fields, people used to cultivate the land and collect food. But today, you can't go there.
Deserted fields. It's here that hundreds of civilians have been kidnapped, nearly 400 since January. Gentille's parents are among them. They disappeared a week ago. Since then, the 6 kids are on their own, helpless.
Mom and Dad had gone to the fields. The next day, we wondered why they had spent the night there. Then they were gone for several days. They never came back. We are very worried. We feel bad. I face many problems. My little brother cries all night. I don't know what to do. The Nalu scare me. They commit atrocities.
In this house, neighbors drop by every day to pray for the mother of this family. She disappeared 2 weeks ago after going to the fields. The only help comes from volunteers of the civil society. They try to gather information on the kidnappings and console the families.
We are very worried because my mother-in-law was the backbone of this family. We are like orphans.
The ADF Nalu, a very secret rebel group. Those who witnessed the activities of this Islamist organization are very rare. John is one of them. Forcefully recruited, John has spent 6 years with the ADF Nalu. He describes their terrible methods.
One of my friends tried to escape. He was caught. They gathered everyone together and executed him to frighten everyone. Usually, it's women who cut the heads off. They test you. Women are sent to seduce you. If you succumb, you are considered weak and you are whipped.
For the last year, the movement has become more radical. Paranoia, fear of a military operation, more and more people have been kidnapped, even humanitarians or priests.
Where were you?
I was over there in that room.
In this church, 3 have disappeared a year ago.
We are worried because we don't know anything. We have no news. We say, can we talk to them on the phone? But the middlemen ask for money for their release. But we never get to hear their voice. Never.
Prayers as the only comfort. Helpless, over the past month, the Congolese army and the United Nations have failed to secure this area.
That report sent to us by our Leah Lisa Westerhoff and Mehdi Medeb. Now, finally, you can't miss this, at least you're very unlikely to, trying to increase the visibility of countryside donkeys wandering around at night. Vets in Botswana have been attaching reflective tags to them. About 1 in 10 traffic accidents in the country are because of domestic animals on the road. By lighting donkeys up at night, animal welfare workers hope to save some lives this Christmas. That's it from me. Wrapping up Africa News, I will, though, hand you back to Laura for more news and headlines from around the world.
High visibility donkeys, eh, Georgia? Sounds like just in time for Christmas. Thanks very much indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this part of Live from Paris. Don't go anywhere, though. Mark Owen is waiting in the wings, ready to take you through until midnight. Much more to come here on France 24. Stay with us.